Bevo, the Blues 0-4, do they feel like a better side than a 0-4 side?
I think so. Gold Coast beat us and in a tight one, and they only just got over Carlton. So based on the scorelines, there's not much between us. So I mean, they've been in games every week, and everyone's talking about how even the competition might be. I even mentioned last week, some of the sides that the experts were predicting to be up the top. They're still trying to sort themselves out as well. So we're one of those teams that have started in a promising fashion and then feel like we could have been 4-0, but we're not. And it's still early in the season.
You seem quite pragmatic after the loss to Collingwood, and as you said, going from 2-0 to 2-2. How do you assess the first month of the season?
We're tiptoeing through games where we're allowing the opposition significant momentum swings by really blatant turnover and skill error, and at times some breakdowns where we got run down 3 times in open field last week. And when they have lifting, that is, from a team perspective, when a player does that. So, and I said to our players after the game, to your credit, you just stuck to your guns and went back to the belief in what you're all doing. So we hung in there, but ultimately the pragmatism sort of came from the fact that at the end of the game, Collingwood prevailed. They were able to pulse at the end of the game and find an energy that we didn't quite have. So that in that there's some disappointment, but we come into this week feeling like, okay, well, let's bring the same kind of application and against a team that we need to respect and minimise those times when you give opposition those significant momentum swings, whether it's skill or otherwise, and we'll give ourselves every chance.
Can you train that, Bevo, or is it purely mindset?
Well, that's the thing. The training aspect, you feel like you're in season, you can only do so much. Pre-season's your big window, but our players have really, especially from a skill point of view, you're out on the track at times, it all looks great, and then in a game, if it breaks down, you can't be all emotional about it. You just got to understand that the pressure of the game, the situation, sometimes, whether it gets to an individual or the team, we've got to find a way to give our players the tools to manage that pressure. And I think in the game has never been in a state before where players are covering so much ground at the speed they are, and I think we're seeing a hell of a lot of error with the use of the Sherrin because of that.
Are you even more wary of Carlton this week, given the week they've had?
Well, not really. Because ultimately we can only take care of what we can control, and that's continuous improvement on our behalf. Obviously, there's some external scrutiny and conversation around where they are, but as I just said, they've been very close to some. Well, who knows who are going to be the top handful of teams. They've been very close in their games, and they're a developing side and list, and as we all are, and all we can do is take control of our own backyard and believe that that's going to win the day.
Bevo, 2 players who can change the momentum of a game off their own boot, Bonts and Cripps. Do you expect them to spend most of the day on each other?
Oh, they'll definitely be in around that contest together for probably large portions of the game, and I suppose at times they'll definitely they'll definitely interact physically. There's no doubt about that, but I wouldn't imagine Bolts is going to assign any responsibility there. But he's very good at doing things like going to key opposition mids and working from that, as is Marcus. So, you'll see some of that, and which is great for the game and the spectacle. And but Marcus won't have any responsibility directly to control his output over the 4 quarters. But he'll have to entertain it as part of the team, though.
Any changes to selection?
There will be, yeah. We need to reward some of the really good performances from the boys who've been playing for Footscray, and so there will be, I can't tell you how many, but we've had some dialogue this week, and we'll get through our training session today, and when the team comes out, obviously ours won't be finalised until tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, expect a change or two.
Do you bring in some assistance for Tim English?
Well, it's an option. Where, I mentioned in the post-match that the impact or the quantities of hit-outs, they were definitely, it's an understatement to say they were skewed. But the week before, against the West Coast rucks, it wasn't dissimilar. The disparity was maybe slightly less. But we're going well as far as reading what's happening there. Our mids have done an outstanding job. There's more to the game than the hit-outs, and we feel like Tim's really progressing. We're wrapped with his impact in the other phases of the game, and as I said, over time, the hit-out, it's not going to get any easier this week, as you're alluding to, but. Josh is trying to pinch hit and help at different times. I wouldn't imagine we'll go too much different.
Is Lin John part of the conversation as far as maybe coming in this week, or will he need another one in the VFL?
Really happy with the way he played against Collingwood's VFL side. First game back, in the mix. Whether or not he comes in, he might need another one or so, just with the match fitness. But yeah, he played well, Jongy.
Just with Marcus, his years in 17 and 18 were still pretty good. But do you feel like he's almost back to his very best the way he started this year? And he seems like he's as good in his body as he has been for a while.
Yeah, his amount of involvement in the game, and defensively he's been terrific as well. And that's a challenge for those prolific midfielders. What are they doing for you when you haven't got the ball? So he's just had a really rounded 4 performances, and there's some areas that he's working on that. I mean, the quality of what we're all doing with the ball, something that he's as capable as anyone in the competition, and he knows that there's some things that he can shave off week to week, so and get more productivity forward to centre at times, which we're all working on. But yeah, he's had an enormous start, and he's one of the reasons why we're extremely competitive, and we just need that even performance across the 22 every week.
Hayden Crozier took a Dundee apparently. Can you tell us what a Dundee is?
Well, yeah, I can't claim, it's not my term. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Stephen Tingay and Johnny Ahern, a couple of the Shep boys I used to play with, who were great mates of mine. They initially, you were as bemused as I was when I first heard it. When they called a Specky or a Jezza a Dundee, I didn't know what it was, and they told me, and it's basically when Mick Dundee in the New York subway walks across the heads to get Delinda Kozlowski. Can't remember what her name is in the movie. He's walking on heads, and from that, I don't know whether it's a Golden Valley thing or not, but they started calling a hanger or a Jezza a Dundee. So I liked it. I laughed back then. So it's not a bad one, but I can't claim it as mine.